Disclaimer. This video is not meant to be hateful or negative in any way towards Apex. I'm simply trying to give some constructive criticism. If you're easily triggered by that, or maybe you're just not very smart, then this isn't the video for you to watch. Please click off. If you're still watching though, then clearly you have a brain. Let's get into this video. So I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube recently just talking about how Apex has died, how Apex is dying out, how it's not fun anymore. I've also seen a lot of streams and stuff, and it just seems that right now everyone is kind of on the fence about if they really enjoy Apex anymore and what the future of Apex is gonna look like. Now Apex is a game that I've really grown to enjoy. I've been playing this game since day one, and although I took multiple breaks throughout my playtime in Apex, I just naturally really enjoy the play style of this game, the gunfights, the gunplay. It's a very fun game. The movement is great. Everything about this game at its core is really good. Now, no matter how fun and how polished and how good a game is at its core, it always needs to reinvent itself and bring new stuff in order to just stay relevant and keep players interested in coming back, right? And this is where I think Respawn has been making a big mistake. Apex has basically been the same with minor changes since its first day out, which is a very big deal in my opinion. I've said this in so many videos in the past, but I really honestly think that Apex could be one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game out right now, because of just how purely fun it can be, right? I honestly just worry that Respawn is going to make the wrong decisions, which may just negatively affect the future of this game. Now, before I get into this video fully and I tell you guys why I think this way, I'm not hating on this game, I'm not hating on Respawn, I'm not being negative or hateful towards Apex. Obviously, I still play this game every single day, I enjoy it. I'm just giving some constructive criticism, and this is needed in a game like this. So if you guys are gonna get upset by constructive criticism, then this is not the video for you, and I advise you to click off right now. But if you're kind of open-minded and you're mature, then you should continue to watch, because that's what I'm making this video for. Alright, so with that being said, let's take a look at Apex when it first came out. Apex was released in February of 2019, and when it first dropped, when it first arrived, everyone was just truly impressed by how fun and how polished Apex was. It was a complete surprise, it was a random drop, and no one was like previously expecting to see a game like Apex just arrive. Obviously, the guys who made Apex, Respawn, also worked on Titanfall games, so everyone just expected the game to be fun. Although Titanfall never really had a very long lifespan, the core game was really fun. The game at the core was just extremely fun to play. So the gunplay, the movement, the whole idea of Apex Legends was just very intriguing, and everyone honestly enjoyed this game for the first couple of months. Now, after Apex had been out for a decent amount of time, everyone was just really wanting more content. Everyone was hungry for content, and at the end of season 1, I would say that Apex had the least amount of players, mainly because content was so spread apart and it was just becoming kind of boring, right? And everyone was just hoping that this would not be Apex's future. Like, Apex was just not supposed to be this game that was so promising but just lacked content to bring you back. And Respawn did try to improve on this in season 2 and season 3, and they did, because we had many more events, many more stuff in the game, and it was obvious that Respawn was trying to bring us more content. Now, the big issue with this is the type of content that Respawn was trying to give us was not exactly what everyone wanted to see. Content doesn't always have to be a brand new LTM or in-game stuff to buy, in-game cosmetics. Like, content could be the simplest things, such as duos and solos in the game permanently. I've been talking to you guys in my Discord server and on Twitter as well, and just watching streams and listening to the feedback of this community, and one of the biggest issues that has been plaguing Apex for a very long time is the lack of variety in game modes. Right now we only have squads and ranked all the time, and Respawn just for some reason doesn't want to implement solos, duos, and just more, variety type game modes. So I think that this is one of the reasons why people have just eventually grown bored of Apex, because the variety of game modes, the variety of content in the game is very limited, and when Respawn does decide to bring content, it gets stale extremely quickly. So I actually want to give the floor to you guys now and ask you, do you think Respawn has been bringing enough content in Apex? And if you don't think they're bringing enough content, be sure to comment down below and tell me why, because as I always say in these videos, every single bit of feedback is very much appreciated, because we don't know who's watching these videos. Somebody from Respawn could potentially see this, and all of these comments are going to be very helpful. So be sure to comment down below and tell me what you think Respawn could do to improve the content in Apex. Now let's talk about the impact of other games on Apex. So currently the only real competition that Apex has is Warzone, Modern Warfare Warzone, but games like Fortnite, I know I said the F word, don't kill me, but games like Fortnite, games like Overwatch, CSGO, all of these games are kind of in the same realm as Apex. We also have Rainbow Six Siege, and some of these games have been making very good progress in terms of, like, you know, just polishing up their games. And this, believe it or not, does have an impact on the player base and what the general community thinks about Apex. Let me tell you guys why. Now, I'm not saying that any of these other games are better than Apex or that Apex is better than those other games. I'm just saying that this does affect how people view games. People have expectations based on other games they have played. Recently, Modern Warfare just came out with Warzone, and within 1 week of that being out, it already had solos and duos. Now, Warzone obviously is a much different game from Apex, but that simple move right there obviously will impact the way that Apex players think, because they're thinking how Apex doesn't have solos as yet, Apex doesn't have duos as yet, and what is the reason behind that. Now, I talked about this in a very recent video, and I basically said that this could be a good thing because it forces Respawn to, you know, be competitive and bring new stuff into Apex, but I did not mention that this could also be a bad thing because the players will begin to lose faith in Respawn. Not everyone wants to play squads all the time, and not everyone has friends to play squads with all the time. So when a game like Warzone, which is in the same genre of Apex, comes out with solos and duos in a battle royale, some players might become bored of Apex and switch to Warzone on a whole. And this is actually very evident on Twitch right now, because some very prominent Apex streamers have been playing Apex a lot recently, which is fine, but it obviously will leave an impact on the game. Now, while I think that Apex is a much more fun game than Warzone, I think it's so much more fun, so much more polished, it just feels like a much more complete game to me. The casual player who maybe doesn't play video games that much, they come on once a week to play with friends, that guy is not going to really tell the difference, right? And that guy most likely will just stick with Warzone if he wants to play by himself. And this is important because the casual players make up the bulk of any game's, you know, population. So that's why this right here is a very important fact. Alright, so I've told you guys why I think that Apex is in a bad state, why it's kind of boring right now, kind of stale. So what do I propose? What do I think Respawn should do to just like reinvent Apex and bring back the spark that Apex used to have back in the day? The first thing I think that Respawn honestly need to do is just be more involved with the game. Sometimes I wonder if Respawn even plays Apex a lot, because there's stuff that just should never be in a game, and for some reason it happens in Apex all the time. So I think that Respawn should really be more active with the community and, you know, talk to content creators, talk to Twitch streamers and stuff, talk to you guys, and really just put some sort of effort into making Apex what it needs to be. That would help a lot. I think if that was done more frequently, things like hackers and stuff in ranked would not be as big of a problem as they are right now. I think that solos and duos would have already been in the game. I think that the matchmaking would have been better. I think that so much things would just improve in Apex if Respawn was more involved. Now, I'm not saying that Respawn isn't involved, obviously they are involved to some extent, but I think that when you have a game like Apex Legends, which is ongoing, it's kind of like a brand new game still, it's fresh. I personally would just like to see a bit more involvement with Respawn. So yeah guys, that's my opinion right now on the state of Apex, why I think some people may call it boring, and why it's just not where it needs to be right now. As I said, I want all of you guys to comment and tell me your thoughts on this. What do you think Respawn needs to do? And do you even think that Apex is in a bad state right now? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching this video guys. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in some more Apex. Till next time.